song that was never meant to be, celebrating a holiday the writer despised, cobbled together from fractions of unfinished works, and completed at the last second. It was the begrudging fulfillment of an obligation that resonated with everyone overwhelmed by the season and desperately seeking a happy ending. Hi, I'm Dan Larson, and this is the history of the Waitresses Christmas Wrap.
Merry Christmas, but I think I missed this one this year. Merry Christmas, but I think I missed this one this year. Merry Christmas.
Thank you to 80stees.com for sponsoring this video. Click the link in the description below and use code TOYGALAXY to get 30% off your order today. Decorate your torso with your favorite comic book heroes from the 80s, or your favorite TV shows from the 90s, or your favorite movies from the 2000s. Actually, it's possible that those are all the same characters. If not, you've got plenty of choices at 80stees.com, built by a fan who loves all of this pop culture stuff, who had no choice but to make his own store to sell the kind of shirts he spent his whole life wishing he could buy. 80stees.com has something for everyone, from He-Man to Batman, from Baywatch to Xena, Shaun of the Dead, Lord of the Rings, Dial of Destiny, and Cocaine Bear. Don't get hung up on the name. 80stees.com started with the 80s, but they've got shirts for movies going back to the 1940s, TV shows from the 50s, holiday specials, wrestling, cereal, department store soda, and candy brands. Give a shirt as a gift, buy an extra to keep for yourself. This is a way to give voice to the person you are on the inside, on the outside. You don't need to know the words to explain your love for retro gaming. Let your shirt tell the story for you. Click the link below and use code TOYGALAXY for 30% off your order today. Again, that's code TOYGALAXY for 30% off your order. And thanks again to 80stees.com. Christmas Wrapping is a song performed by the band The Waitresses, written by guitarist Chris Butler and sung/rapped by Paddy Donahue. Christmas Wrapping was first released on ZE Records, a Christmas record, in the UK in November of 1981. Chris Butler grew up and went to school in Ohio. He majored in sociology at Kent State University, where he was an eyewitness to the May 4th, 1970 Kent State massacre, which left 4 students dead, including his close friend Jeffrey Miller. Butler was part of an emerging Ohio music scene that included Gerald Casale of Devo and Chrissie Hynde of The Pretenders. He bounced around from band to band and wrote his own songs on the side. In 1975, he joined the Numbers Band, also known as 156075 The Numbers, which included Terry Hynde, brother of Chrissie, and Gerald Casale. He was restless, referring to himself as a European unfortunately born in America, and by 1977, Butler vowed to escape the dead-end life of Akron, Ohio, one way or another. To that end, he fabricated a reality he wanted to live in, one where he was in a successful band that got along, had cool songs, and signed a record deal, and hoped someone somewhere would believe him. He wrote a song called Wait Here, I'll Be Right Back, later changed to I Know What Boys Like, and credited it to a non-existent band called the Waitresses. The name inspired by a t-shirt that said Waitresses Unite, worn by a waitress at the local Jerry's Diner, where he spent time drinking coffee and plotting his escape. In 1978, as the story goes, he was fired from the Numbers Band for skipping rehearsal to do a photo shoot for the Waitresses. Because there was no band to do a photo shoot with, the Waitresses were just Butler, his imagination, and whoever was standing around at the time that agreed to be in staged photos. He landed in the band Tin Huey and played them the demo he recorded of I Know What Boys Like, with him singing, hoping they would want to record it. They did not. He brought the song back to life when he reconnected with friend Paddy Donahue. Fate had introduced Butler to Paddy Donahue one afternoon in an Ohio bar while at Kent State University. He called out to the crowd during a show and asked if anyone wanted to sing a song he wrote that was funny, stupid, cool, and different. She stood up and volunteered.
Well, actually, I started singing about 1.5 years ago when I joined this band.
Is that right?
This is my first band. But we used to work on tapes together since about 78.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your success.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Harrison Ford is going to be with us
There's another star.
right after this.
Butler recorded a new demo of I Know What Boys Like with Donahue on vocals and again presented it to Tin Huey. Tin Huey still didn't record it, but they did start playing it at the end of their shows. Sort of. For those performances, Butler leaned into his fabricated reality by providing the band with the Waitresses Unite t-shirts from Jerry's Diner. Furthermore, Paddy Donahue joined them on stage to sing lead and, for all intensive purposes, completed their transformation into a physical manifestation of Butler's imaginary band, the Waitresses. Tin Huey was on board for the gag, and the bit became a staple of their shows. In 1979, Tin Huey released their first album, Contents Dislodged, during shipment. It did not do well, and they took a break. Butler had a few contacts in the industry thanks to Tin Huey's new contract with Warner Brothers Records, and decided to move to New York City, a place that had the music, the energy, and the life he was looking for. Butler got his demo of I Know What Boys Like into the hands of a representative at Island Records who liked it, signed the Waitresses to ZE Records, a subsidiary of Island, and finally called his bluff. In order to release a single, they were going to need a B-side. In order to record a B-side, Butler needed a real band. Butler needed a band called The Waitresses.
Who the hell are you?
Chris Butler
I'm here to talk to you about
a band called the Waitresses. Butler called Donahue and sent her the last $50 he had to take a bus to the city. The rest of the band was a collection of musicians that would also come to New York seeking an escape from their Midwest fates. Mars Williams on saxophone, Dan Clayman on keyboard, Billy Fica on drums, and Ariel Warner on backing vocals. Original bassist Dave Hofstra was quickly replaced by Tracy Wormworth. I Know What Boys Like was finally released to the world as a single in 1980 with a song No Guilt as the B-side, and was a mild underground hit. Enough to get the Waitresses, an actual band of actual people this time, on the road touring in support while they worked on a full album. They played their first show together over New Year's weekend, January 3rd, 1981. Body count.
Atari would like to thank you for taking us into your homes. We wish you all a happy holiday.
In the depths of the summer heat of August 1981, during the grind of touring and writing an album, ZE Records decided to put together a Christmas album showcasing the bands on their label, including acts like Was Not Was, Alan Vega, August Darnell, and Material. It was the last thing the Waitresses wanted to do. It was the last thing they wanted to be associated with. Butler tried to pretend like the request never happened, but the label insisted. According to Butler, quote, "I was such a Scrooge. I hated Christmas. Also, I worked as a freelance journalist. In December in New York, everyone with a job takes a long holiday, so I'd get offered work I was too poor to turn down. I'd have all this stuff to do when everyone else was having their eggnog, and I poured my sourness into this song." Butler pulled together pieces of unfinished songs that he had stashed away. Quote, "I've still got the cassettes of me kind of grunting into the microphone, trying to come up with parts to present to the band. That's kind of the way we worked. I would come up with an idea for a song and figure out a few parts and then present it." A riff here, a transition there. He wrote the lyrics at the last minute, literally finishing them as he was on his way to the recording studio in New York, ultimately telling a story about coping with the holidays as opposed to any semblance of joy. The girl in the song lamenting her lack of interest in participating in the season and that the only thing she really wants is a resolution to missed opportunities, the timing that never worked out with the guy she was interested in, each of them always having some other obligation. To console herself, she's resolved to declining all the holiday invitations, staying home, and having dinner alone. The title, Christmas Wrapping, was both an homage to Curtis Blow's 1979 Christmas Wrap-In and a recognition of the circular nature of the song Butler wrote. The lyrics resolved her attempt to escape the obligations of the holiday season by giving her exactly what she wanted from the beginning: cranberry sauce. And that guy she's been chasing all year. After presenting the outline of the song to the rest of the band, they started recording with Michael Frondelli acting as studio engineer and co-producing. Altogether, it was 3 sweaty days, including overdubbing and mixing. The Waitresses then got back to touring and forgot all about the song they never wanted to make. The compilation album, cleverly titled A Christmas Record, was released in November 1981 in the UK. Even though it wasn't officially released in the US yet, Christmas Wrapping caught the attention of radio stations who started playing it during the 1981 holiday season. It was around that time that Butler got a call from his girlfriend who told him that they were blowing up on the radio. Finally, Butler assumed it was I Know What Boys Like. After all this time, the work, the tour, it had finally paid off.
You didn't say the magic word.
Please!
But no, it was the Christmas song. Butler and the band hurriedly relearned the song and put it back into their set list for shows they were still playing around the US to finish out 1981 and into 1982. Butler knew it was a complicated song. He told the Akron Beacon Journal in 2021, quote, "I didn't do Patty any favors. I mean, there's barely room to catch a breath. In fact, the last verse, she ran out of air. We relearned it at soundcheck and then played it that night, and then it pretty much stayed in our repertoire until we blew up and it required a workaround," end quote. Butler explained that he and bassist Tracy Wormworth would jump in to finish off some of the lyrics so Donahue could catch her breath. The success of Christmas Wrapping recharged the band for the rest of the tour, and the completion of their first studio album, Wasn't Tomorrow Wonderful? Released in January of 1982, it included a re-recording of I Know What Boys Like that made it to number 62 in the US on the Hot 100. In September, they recorded the theme song for a TV show called Square Pegs, starring Sarah Jessica Parker. They appeared in the first episode, and some of their songs, including Christmas Wrapping, were featured in various episodes.
The Waitresses!
In November, the Waitresses released an EP called I Could Rule the World If I Could Only Get the Parts that included the Square Pegs theme song and Christmas Rapping, which hit too late to be included on their debut album. They continued touring through 1982 while working on their second album, Bruisology. The end of 1982 also saw ZE Records, a Christmas record special edition released in the UK and US, with Christmas Rapping also released as a single, reaching number 45 on the UK singles chart. Through near non-stop touring, the Waitresses' second album, Bruisology, released in May of 1983, though well-reviewed, it spent only 5 weeks on the Billboard 200 and peaked at 155, a far cry from their first album's 24 weeks on the chart, peaking at 41. They were tired and needed a break from the grind of touring and recording and music and each other. Patty Donahue left the band, was replaced by Holly Beth Vincent, who left the band and was replaced by Patty Donahue. Patty Donahue left the band again near the end of 1983, and the Waitresses permanently went their separate ways after just 2 albums and 1 EP. Christmas Rapping became a perennial favorite Christmas song on pop and rock radio stations and included on holiday collections around the world. It has been covered by artists like the Spice Girls, Save Ferris, the Donnas, the cast of Wicked, Martin Barabee for this video, Smash Mouth with Susanna Hoffs and Vitamin String Quartet, among others. It was featured in the movie Get Santa, performed by the Saturdays, and on the TV series Glee. In 2009, it returned to the UK singles chart, peaking at number 8 during the Christmas season. The song has appeared on such TV shows as The Office, Cobra Kai, Gilmore Girls, and Malcolm in the Middle, and in 2022 it was featured in the Disney Plus exclusive Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special starring Chris Pratt. ZE Records closed shop in 1984. After leaving the Waitresses, Patty Donahue became a talent scout for MCA Publishing, then graduated to A&R rep for MCA Records. She passed away from lung cancer at age 40 in 1996. Butler, who now owns and lives in Jeffrey Dahmer's childhood home, continued to write, record, and produce music through the 80s, 90s, and into the 2000s, including releasing Tin Huey's second album, Disinformation, on his own label, Future Fossil Records, in 1999. And he came to terms with the success of Christmas Rapping. It's not the kind of song he wanted to be known for, but he was happy to be known for something, and the residuals paid for his kid to go to college. Every year he makes a charitable donation in the name of the first person of the holiday season to tell him they heard Christmas Rapping on the radio. More than that, Butler is proud to have made an impact on music and culture, and to know that his work makes people happy every year at a time when they need it the most. That's not to say that he loves Christmas. No, he admits it's still not his favorite holiday. As he put it, quote, "I still get grumpy at Christmas. Every year when I get stuck in traffic because of idiots buying crap for their unloved in-laws, that song always seems to come on the radio, and then I think, lighten up, man. It's Christmas."
Christmas. Christmas. Yeah.
Christmas Rapping is the story of a person longing for real, meaningful connection when they're surrounded by superficial expressions of joy and celebration, taking the initiative by opting out of an annual commercial exercise that takes more than it gives. It's the product of Butler's plan to get out of a nowhere life in a nowhere town, the manifestation of his fabricated life where he was in a band, had cool songs, and signed a record deal. A story about taking control of your own destiny and being rewarded in the end with the love and happiness you were looking for all along. Thanks for watching. Please hit like and subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Thank you very much to those of you who already are. If you're in a position to help the channel grow, if you'd like early access to the videos ad-free, as well as behind-the-scenes features, sneak peeks at upcoming projects, and exclusive monthly podcast about the show, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/toygalaxy and let us know in the comments down below what your favorite Christmas song is. No kidding, we did this video because we realized we didn't really have anything special planned for Christmas. That's all this. And Greg mentioned that this was his second favorite Christmas song. I gotta be honest, I don't know what my favorite Christmas song is, so I certainly don't know what my second favorite is. If you're putting me on the spot like this, I guess I would say number 1 is Christmas in Hollis by Run DMC, and number 2 is Jingle Bells by the Batman Smells guy. You should have put me on the spot. I drew a blank. Cut.